good afternoon. I am here with another day's newspaper. Today we shall be discussing the Hindu dated March 3, but I have included the questions from March 1, March 2 and March 3 in this episode of our program. Good afternoon everybody. Please make sure that all participate on a regular basis so that you will come to know about what are happening around you like a story. In fact, that is what is required for clear assimilation of things that are happening around us. Nobody can go devoid of reading newspapers if somebody is very serious about competitive examinations. Exams are coming in the month of September. The first common eligibility test will come. That is going to be the first common eligibility test by the National Recruitment Agency. So ensure that you all start very seriously preparing for those exams. Anticipate your exams and prepare hard, and for such a preparation newspaper reading is quite essential, and without reading the newspapers and keeping a diary of events, nobody can even dream about getting a job of at the national level. So I am going to start with the March 3 newspaper. Please listen. 15 more paramilitary companies for Tamil Nadu. DMK sticks to 18 seat offer to Congress. These are the major, or it is going to be election time in 4 states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam and West Bengal. So more political news are going to fill the papers. India Japan back in Sri Lankan port project. We know that there was a confusion regarding the development of East Container Terminal in Sri Lanka. Japan and India have were given the chance to develop the Eastern Container Terminal port. It was to be developed by Sri Lankan government and Japan and India. Sri Lankan government will hold 51% stake and India and Japan would contribute the balance 49. But a few weeks ago, Sri Lankan government unilaterally withdrew from the project, and which added genuine confusion to both the countries of India and Japan. India and Japan applied huge diplomatic pressure on Sri Lankan government, and finally the Sri Lankan government said that instead of Eastern Container Terminal project, they will give us the Western Container Terminal project with greater stake. The issue that was cited with regard to Eastern Container Terminal project award was that there were popular resentment against conferring the strategically important Eastern Container Terminal project to any foreign countries. So now the issue seems to be amicably settled. India and Japan are not going to get the opportunity to develop Eastern Container Terminal project, but instead they are given the Western Container Terminal project, but with a greater stake of around 80 to 85%. So that is why that is what is this news all about. Back to the future. The economy may have emerged from the woods, but challenges loom. After 2 quarters of sharp contraction, India's economy is estimated to have rebounded out of a technical recession. What is this technical recession? If any economy is going through 2 quarters, continuous quarters of recession, continuous quarters of negative growth, it is called recession. We can say that the country is technically in recession. 2 quarters means 3 months plus 3 months. 1 quarter is 3 months. So 2 quarter means 6 months. If a continuously 2 quarters negative growth is made, then we can say that that country is in technical recession. But after the technical recession, the country has recorded a feeble growth in October-December period, with GDP rising by 0.4% and GVB by 1%. So Indian economy is slowly coming out of the grip of recession. That is what the and that is what is commented by the Hindu. The overall numbers are not surprising, just as short notice pandemic lockdown and the subsequent case surge took the wind out of the mobility and economic activity in the first half of the fiscal year. The unlocking phase that was largely complete by late September brought back a semblance of normalcy, with pent up and festival demand spurring spending and helping reboot production lines. Agriculture remained the resilient bulwark in the third quarter as well, with farm GVA rising by 3.9% after being the sole sector to clock growth of preceding 2 quarters. Agriculture was the only sector that showed growth always, even during the times when Indian economy contracted by 23.9% in the first quarter of this year, and the subsequent quarter where economy continued to contract by 7.5%. All these times it was only the agriculture sector that was growing steadily. That shows the strength and resilience of Indian agriculture sector. Okay, read, very good pieces of information that you would get, and the challenges are still there. That is what the article says. Reviving the Iran deal. We know that there is a new administration in United States of America, and that gives hope back to the prospects of Iran. We know that the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, was signed in 2015 by Iran, P5 plus Germany. Permanent 5 Security Council 5 permanent members of USA, France, England, Russia, China and Germany, P5 plus 5 nations signed an agreement with Iran, under which Iran agreed to place their nuclear installations under the continuous supervision of IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN nuclear watchdog. So this was in 2015, but in 2018 the Trump administration unilaterally withdrew from this agreement, and Iran also changed its colors. So after the change in guard in the White House, there are plenty of hopes that Iran will be tamed again to come back to the negotiating table, and IAEA will continue to inspect Iranian nuclear installations. That is very important for global peace. The first question is given to you. Karnataka has launched the country's maiden engineering research and development policy, ER&DP, policy to raise contribution to the sector in the country to -% in the next 5 years. Yes, Mayur, I have been not been for the program for the past couple of days, but I will ensure that questions from those days are also included in today's newspaper, and I will be present almost every day with the program. Yes, what's the answer? Karnataka has launched the country's maiden engineering research and development policy to raise its contribution to the sector in the country to dash percent. Aparna has given me the answer. What about others? Yes, it is 45%. It is 45%. In the nation's share of 100%, Karnataka plans to contribute 45%. According to NASSCOM, the National Association of Software Developers, NASSCOM, and ER&RD, potential of the country is almost 100 billion. The country's potential of ER&D, country's potential of ER&D is almost 100 billion in the next 5 years, and it will contribute on 6.5 lakh jobs. So it's a huge sector, and Karnataka wants to take the best share of it at 45%. The next, engineering research policy launched by Karnataka. Karnataka launched the country's maiden engineering research and development policy to raise the contribution of the sector in the country to 45% in the next 5 years. ER&D has the potential to become 100 billion industry in the next 5 years. Global engineering research development is 2 trillion by 2025. It was during this time that India wants to be a 100 billion industry. Okay, so it's a mammoth industry developing, and Karnataka government has taken the lead in framing a policy on that front. Question number 2, the central government has recently auctioned a part of the bandwidth spectrum. The government has put the spectrum price at how much money does the government intend to mobilize? The central government has recently auctioned a part of the bandwidth spectrum. The government has put the spectrum price at what? Is it 3.92 lakh crore, 1.84 lakh crore, 4.66 lakh crore, or 5.02 lakh crore? The total auction is for 2308.8 megahertz. 2308.8 megahertz of spectrum will be sold by the government. This is what the government plans to sell, and the first stage of auction completed in 2 days. Anu says, has given me her option. And what about others? Yes, it is the first option, 3.92 lakh. 3.92 lakh crore is what the government wants to mobilize. And yesterday the government sold 37% of this. 37% of this, which is around 855 megahertz. And government was able to mobilize 77,815 crore rupees. So this was the original intention, the government intention is that this much of spectrum, and the first 2 days government could sell 37% of this, which is equal to 855 megahertz, and government mobilized 77.815 crore. So it was a bumper sale for the government. Center gets 77,815 crore in spectrum auction, So, government is heavily eyeing on non-tax revenue. By selling spectrum, government has earned 77,815 crore. In the auction, the first in nearly 5 years, and among the shortest, the participation from only 3 players, only 3 people participated. They are the Jio, Vodafone and Airtel. 2308.08 megahertz of spectrum, that was to mobilize 3.92 lakh crore, 37% or 855.6 megahertz were sold, and this much of money is mobilized. That is his summary. So, no bids were received for the premium 700 megahertz and 2000 megahertz bands. Okay, very important. Myanmar security forces fire on protesters. We know what is happening in Myanmar. On February 1, through a military coup, the democratically elected government by Will Manth of National League for Democracy (NLD) was ousted by the Myanmarese military. Ever since then, there have been continuous protests in all cities, including the biggest one, Yangon. The military is firm in dispersing people, fired at innocent protesters, and many lost their lives. International community will seriously impose restrictions on Myanmar, hopefully, and we can expect that the military will soon toe the line. Third question, the Lok Sabha TV and the Rajya Sabha TV are now merged under the banner of what? Samskar TV, Prasar Bharati TV, Bharati TV, Sansad TV, or none of these. So, Lok Sabha TV and Rajya Sabha TV will no longer be there. They have merged to become, assume a new name. What is that? Yes, the answer is correct. It is Sansad TV, very important, Sansad TV. And Ravi Kapoor is the CEO, the first CEO of Sansad TV, Ravi Kapoor. LSTV, RSTV now merged under the banner of Sansad TV. Very important news. After nearly 2 years of work, the merger of Lok Sabha TV and Rajya Sabha TV has been finalized and will be replaced by Sansad TV. Ravi Kapoor will be appointed its new CEO. Fourth question is given to you now. Pick out the incorrect statement among the following. This question is regarding FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. Please read the question and answer. The Financial Action Task Force is a Paris-based agency. FATF is set up by the group of 7 industrialized countries. FATF has kept Pakistan under its blacklist for not taking enough actions to contain global money laundering and terror financing. Pakistan is given a 27 points action plan which may be revised again in June 2021. What's your answer? Yes, the point C is wrong. Pakistan is not blacklisted, it was grey listed. It was grey listed for not taking enough actions. Pakistan is grey listed many years ago, and it was given a 21-point reformation plan by the Paris-based FATF to improve its image by improving its score in controlling money laundering and terror financing. Pakistan's the decision that Pakistan is included in the grey list will be revised again in June 2021. Pakistan was hoping heavily that in February 2021, meaning last week, when the FATF summoned, Pakistan was expecting to come out of the grey list, but that did not happen. Pakistan's position in the grey list will be reviewed again in June 2021. Pakistan is under grey list, correct Anjana? You are correct. Pakistan needs legislation to meet FATF benchmarks. Okay. So Pakistan will have to make further legislation on at least 2 counts to meet 3 outstanding benchmarks of 27-point action plan of global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog FATF before the new June deadline, a media report said. So Pakistan has to make 2 legislation to ensure that it is not sponsoring financial terrorism, or it is not financing terrorism, or it is not allowing anybody in the soil of Pakistan money laundering. So let us see what is going to happen. Khashoggi killing, US tells Saudi Arabia to take action. So Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi citizen, was killed in Turkey. He was killed and cut into pieces mercilessly, and Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, was under doubt. His involvement was doubted by the international community. Now Khashoggi killing, US tells Saudi Arabia to take action. Riyadh told to disband group responsible for murder. Saudi Arabia duly said its hands are clean, and they did not, and the crown prince did not give any death warrant to kill Jamal Khashoggi. These were actions by a few independent people. He was killed in Turkey. He was found dead in this attack, and this killing took place in the Saudi consulate in Turkey. Fifth question, it is reported that Reserve Bank of India has advised commercial banks to limit their stakeholding in insurance companies to -%. Very important question. It has asked commercial banks to limit commercial banks' exposure to insurance companies to what %? Banks should do banking and should not do any other jobs where their capital will get blocked. That is the philosophy. Banks should do banking, and what is banking? Accepting deposits for the purpose of lending. Banks' funds should not be locked in any other business. Insurance is a different territory where banks will not be able to assess the risk completely. Apart from that, banks' precious capital will get locked in another business. Thanks to these 2 reasons, the Reserve Bank of India has advised commercial banks to limit their exposure in insurance business to 20%. Third option is the answer. RBI said to tell banks to limit insurance stakes. The maximum should be limited to 20%, less than half of what the current legislations permit. So presently legislations permit 50%, it must be reduced to 20%. That is the new advice. Of course, this is an informal news, so clarifications will have to come. Ambani tops Indian billionaire list with 83 billion. New rich man is tells as Elon Musk. Followed by Amazon's Jeff Bezos, 189 to 197. Okay, and Mukesh Ambani is the richest Indian with 83 billion. Sixth question, please go through. It's about ISRO's satellites. ISRO has sent 19 satellites into orbit on board the PSLV-C51. The launch was the first dedicated mission of its commercial arm, New Space India Limited. The satellites included Brazil's optical Earth observation satellite Amazonia, Dr. Satish Dhawan Sat, SD-SAT, built by Space Kids India, a nano satellite intended to study the radiation levels, etc., had an engraving of Prime Minister Modi. Yes, the sixth question, please answer. The answer is the first option, all the above are correct. All the above are correct. Okay, so I am proceeding. Seventh question, the Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, IICT, a CSIR Lab which was a key player in developing Covaxin, is situated in. Where is IICT, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, situated? Thiruvananthapuram, New Delhi, Chennai, Jaipur, Hyderabad. IICT, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, is situated in Hyderabad, fifth option. IICT is situated in Hyderabad. During the latest Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister said that the nation would soon be launching a 100-day dash campaign. What sort of a campaign the country is going to commence? Young scientist Hund, root out corruption, rural enlightenment, catch the rain, solar light up. What is the campaign that the country is going to take up as declared by Prime Minister during his latest Mann Ki Baat? Please answer the question quickly. Yes, the answer is the fourth option, catch the rain. This is by the National Jal Jeevan Mission. By the National Jal Jeevan Mission, the answer is catch the rain. Very important. Nicolas Sarkozy, who was sentenced to jail on corruption charges, is the former president of. Nicolas Sarkozy is the president of, was the president of. He was the president of France. On corruption charge, on influencing judiciary, he was sentenced for 3 years. Thank you, my dear students, for attending the program. At 3 o'clock we shall have another live program. Keep attending all the live sessions. Those who could not attend the live sessions can watch the program in the app. The questions that I give every day will be available in the daily Gyan. So ensure that actively participate, keep your energy levels very high, work really hard. Final success will be ours if we keep up the enthusiasm level up. So please subscribe the news to our YouTube channel and give your likes to our programs, so that will function as a great encouragement to us. I promise you that I shall come on all days. Of course, occasionally a few days have to be skipped, but I will not skip the news. I will ensure that questions are given to you even on from those days where I may be absent, but to the extent possible I shall be presenting the program at the same time. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Have a good day ahead of you.